Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Electric Vibe podcast. My name is Kurt Hoffman, your co-host, and my smooth voiced brother from another mother is none other than.
Hey, David Silva. I am the Electric Man.
So, Jay, can you tell us who's on the podcast today and why we're here?
Yes, thanks, Kurt. I appreciate that. We are here to celebrate the life and legacy of Cat Glover, who was an entertainer, performer, dancer, singer, worked with Prince, but notably worked with a lot of other people, choreographer. And her untimely passing, I think, took us all by surprise this week. We wanted to come on and do for lack of a better term, a tribute for Cat. And we have some wonderful people here with us. And we are very, very blessed, I think, and very grateful to have them. So we're going to talk to Damon Dixon, former member of the NPG. We have Tanya Giddens, who is jack of all trades. And if you all saw her episode with us on the Electric Vibe podcast, you already know. And if you didn't see it, you better ask somebody. And then we have the OG, our brother in arms, Joe Kelly, who is the creator and host of Musicians Reveal podcast. And we're happy to have all of you here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We thank you for all of you for coming on. And we've been probably talking, especially Damon and I, for almost an hour now. And just the stories that I've gotten off air with each and every one of you, and Joe, you just coming in and us meeting for the first time. I'm just humbled and honored that you're all here, and thank you for coming on. And this is kind of last minute because, Jay and I were like, look, we need to do something for Cat, because the first time I would see Cat Glover do her thing live was the Love Sexy tour in '88, September 30th, Hartford Civic Center, 1988, Love Sexy tour. My senior year in high school, I was already graduated. On my way to living in South Florida. So my farewell to Connecticut was the Love Sexy tour, and a month later I was living in South Florida. So I just, watching her in the Sign of the Times concert film, that was my first introduction to her. And then learning her backstory many years later, I just, Jay, so to preface this whole thing, Jay, you and I had been in talks with her personally and her manager, Haley Drinkall.
Right.
And she was to have come on the podcast to talk about something we thought would never happen, which was she was writing a book. And she was going to talk a little bit about that. And unfortunately, and this was as recently as a month ago, middle of April, as a matter of fact, middle of August, rather, in August 16th.
Yeah, Haley and I were in communication, and we were trying to coordinate schedules. And she said, actually, I think it was about 2 weeks ago that she was going to be seeing Cat. And she said, I'm going to be seeing her in a couple of days. We'll coordinate schedules and we'll get back in touch with you. And look, things happen. We're all busy. We've got our regular lives, and we're recording and doing things. So I think that it was just a shock the other day to hear, what had happened.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So if we go around the room, Damon, I know you had shared quite a story. And for those of us who are on the outside of the purple community, we don't know if you all know one another like you knew Kat. Can you talk about how you know Kat, your association with her?
We met Kat, because at the time we were in between all the tours that they were doing. So he would call us to come do videos here and there, what have you. And back then we knew Kat, Bonnie, and Sheila was in the house at the time. And funny story, we were rehearsing, going through one of the routines in one of the rooms, and the studio that has all the mirrors in it, and they happened to walk in while we were down on the floor doing these certain moves, and they're standing behind us. We look up and they're standing behind us going, y'all sure working that. And we kind of look back and go, how long y'all been standing there? And initially that was like meeting them is like, Bonnie was incredible,
Yeah.
and Kat was just this ball of energy, and we started coming around for that kind of stuff, seeing them in video. Kat would call us to take her out because Prince wasn't taking her out to the club.
Mm.
So she wanted to go somewhere where he wouldn't go to. So we went and picked her up and took her to this club called the Mermaid, where we knew Prince wasn't there going to be at. Because the Mermaid was way out in the suburbs somewhere. And we hung out with her that way. And, Kat was always straightforward. She wanted to get away from that scene for a minute and just let loose. And so we took her out dancing whenever she would call us and ask us to come take her out. Well, I'll say Tony had the car, so Tony would be the one to pick me up, and then we go pick her up. But that's how we met, and we kind of had a bond from that point on. So periodically throughout the years, Kat would send me memes all the time, and we would, connect that way. And she'd send me funny stuff, and I'd be laughing. I'd be like, "What the hell are you doing up at 2 a.m? What's going on?" and stuff. So we would just be shooting messages back and forth that way. And so in the last 3 or 4 years, we were in contact quite a bit, just over and over different stuff all the time. So, and my live I did yesterday was prompt because of her.
Yeah.
Something she said to me back then, and I kept, she told me I was suppressing the stuff. She said, "Quit doing that shit." And I was, okay. I was trying to be politically correct, but she was trying to, that gangster Chicago stuff on me. So she wasn't playing, and she meant it too. And I was like, okay, well, but that's how we met. And Kat was just, a ball of energy. Talking to her, she knew what she was talking about, and she had there's some things that, like you said, like Jelly Bean and them guys were talking about how they talked. That's how she talked to me. She'd be saying stuff about me, and I go, "Ooh, okay." I was the butler over by the curtain. Like, let me sit over here because she's still going in, but that was my girl. I mean, I just thought, she was just cool as shit and, straight shooter. She didn't hold no punches. And when she had something to say about what was going on, like, my situation with her, she lit into me. She said I was being too nice. So that prompted that video yesterday, that live I did. So
if anything, she knew her self-worth. If anything, for those of us on the outside.
I mean, outside of being the energy she was on stage, I mean, it was just unmatched. And everybody knows he hired Robin after her. But Robin couldn't touch Kat with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry. She's a good dancer, but she couldn't, excuse my French, she couldn't fuck with Kat on any level of that.
And so, Tanya, how about you and your association and following Kat?
Well, let me go back. My first experience, the first time I ever saw Kat was watching Star Search. When I forgot the name of the team,
Cat and Pat, I think.
Cat and Pat, that's it. Yeah. And she was doing the cat scat. And I said, what in the world is this? But they were dancing their behinds off. And I see why they went to the finals, except for some little corny duo that didn't get it, but it's okay. And I remember saying, wow, I'm going to learn how to do that. And I think I pulled a couple of muscles trying to do the at the
jack in your
time.
body.
And then by the time I got to college, I was mastering it. When we have parties at the Sweatbox at my school, I was killing it. And after Star Search, of course, she went on to do work with Prince and with Sign the Times and Love Sexy. And I remember going to see Sign the Times with my high school friends. And she was this force of nature throughout the entire film. And I was like, yeah, she's dope. She's dope. And then a few years later, actually, the last time No, next to last time I saw her was in LA when they did right after Prince passed, the Academy Motion Picture Arts Sciences had an event where they commemorated Purple Rain, and she was there.
Hmm.
And it was like nothing had changed with her. She was still this fiery ball of fire, and she was just so happy to see everybody. Even if she didn't know you, she was coming to give you a hug. And her energy, that's what I remember most about her energy. When she came here to New York to do the panel discussion for D'Angela Duff, she was the same way. And like Damon said, definitely no holds barred. She talked straight to you like a TI is. And the conversation that we had, she would just, how a cat starts talking and she'll say, that's so and so and so and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I remember most is her spirit. Her spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Joe, how about you? And I'm pretty sure that you had interviewed Kat actually.
No, I got a story about that, but no, but I'll first tell you about when I first saw Kat on stage was kind of like Kurt was saying about the Love Sexy tour. I was living in Taiwan, and I came back for two reasons: to see Prince, Love Sexy, and also my brother was getting married, I think, a little while after that. But yeah, we went to the Spectrum in Philadelphia. I brought a friend of mine, and I remember there was the intermission and the two acts and everything. After the show, my friend who I took wasn't a big Prince fan. I said, how'd you like the show? He said, oh, it was incredible, that girl. I said, yeah, but what about Prince? He says, I don't know. I had my eye on Kat the whole night. So he was sold. It was a great show. I remember at the Spectrum, I think that girl Princess was there. Remember, you used to Dance Party USA?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so she was there, but Kat had better moves.
Yeah.
But I was thinking back, about missed opportunities, and we're talking about taking advantage of a lot of tributes to people who passed, unfortunately. And Kat, my buddy Sean Carter had arranged for us to do an interview. I think it was about 10 years ago. And I waited for like an hour, didn't get the call. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't pissed off, but I'm like, I'm not waiting more than an hour. So, Sean said, let's set it up. And we just, like you guys were talking about, things happen and we never set it up. So we got to take advantage of the time we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
Amen.
For me, seeing Kat the first time was, 1987, February of like 87. And I bought the 12-inch of Sign of the Times with the B side of La 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 He, I think.
Right.
And there was obviously the image of Kat holding up the big heart in front of her face. And, there was all the hullabaloo about, is that Prince? And is he in, women's clothing and all this? And is he going off the deep end, this, that, and the other thing? And, I kind of knew right then that that's not Prince. Let's cut that out. Right. But then when, the album debuted and, Kat started coming to the front, I got the sense that, for me anyway, she was the perfect muse for him during that whole Sign of the Times Love Sexy phase, because she was a force of nature, strong, independent, held her own with Prince. I mean, just think about, for instance, the opening of the Love Sexy tour. Yes, my man comes out in the Thunderbird and it's bad and everything, but she comes on, and I would dare you to take your eyes off of her when they're dancing. I actually revisited, the whole Erotic City opening today, and she's matching him step by step. And there's no, his personality, for me anyway, didn't overshadow hers. She was strong, she was confident, she was sexy, and that's what I remember. But I'm also very, very impressed by the choreography, the fluidity of the dance moves, and just what she brought, the energy and the animation that she brought to the show. Kurt?
Yeah.
I dare say that she had that proto hip hop element to her. She's a disciple of Frankie Knuckles. Let's start there. Okay.
Yes.
Frankie Knuckles was her homeboy. Okay.
Yes.
And she recently was sharing stuff in 12-inch records inspired for Frankie Knuckles. In fact, I at the store that I work at, I was playing some of the stuff she was referencing. And she had this element, she was the first rapper in his universe.
Right.
Really, when you think about it, on Alphabet Street, and of course every one of us bootlegged the Black Album. We all had Cindy C and stuff like that playing in our houses. We all knew the flavor that she brought, but she was rapping something that Frankie Knuckles had on one of his records, one of his 12 inches. So she brought this hip hop flavor. Everybody talks about how, and all due respect to the NPG and the era that you were in, Damon, but she had that original hip hop flavor that she brought from her time in Detroit and Chicago. And that to me struck me the most.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah.
great point. That's a really great point. I'm sorry, Joe. It's, coming from New York with the whole explosion of hip hop, the golden era of hip hop, as we call it,
Absolutely.
To hear her, I mean, let's be honest, she was not MC Light or Queen Latifah. The vibe was just totally different. But her rhythmic phrasing of her rap, it was her own. It was her own. And you knew when you heard a Prince song and you heard somebody rhyming over it, that was Cat.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I just found out that
Absolutely.
she had that song, that Catwoman, that song that she
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
I just heard it the other day, yesterday. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. I'm like, she's killing that shit. It was just like, I was like, and I knew she did some other stuff, but I hadn't really heard any of it. And then when I heard that yesterday, I was like, God damn it, here's the thing. I could have talked to her about this.
Yeah.
And I was kicking myself because I didn't get a chance. I didn't know she even did that.
And she collaborated with a British producer, Tim Simonon, who bombed the bass, who had his own thing groove going on with dance music in England, and he went on to produce for Depeche Mode and all these other groups. So she had a hookup there in England when she was working in England.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
David, let me ask you, when you all would hang out, on a more personal, I mean, I can just imagine that Cat was just fun. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Hanging out with her.
Yeah.
Look, man, we picked her up. The first time we picked her up, she was like, all right, where we going? So her energy was just in the car. We're like, so we know this spot that's way out. He said, it's not downtown anywhere, so I don't want to run into Pete. And we're like, okay, we can guarantee you won't run into Pete. I said, we'll probably be the only black people up in this place. And she was looking at us, she was like, okay. It's like it's right up my alley. So we get to this club called the Mermaid. And it's basically a white establishment. And we walked up in there and everybody's staring at us, and you got, me at 6'4", Tonya at 6'4", and then you got this light-skinned girl with a body walking in with us, and you're like looking, everybody's like this. And they played a lot of R&B and a lot of hip-hop stuff, and we hit the floor. We were on the floor from the time we got there till the time we left. And it was just how she was. And we, we loved to dance. So it fit right in with us, and we stayed until the club closed. And she didn't want to go home. She's like, this ain't like LA. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, this ain't even like Chicago. You're going home. It's already, they're telling everybody to get that stuff together. It ain't even 1 o'clock yet. We're like, they say 12:30. They say 12:45. They want everybody out the club and out the parking lot.
Wow.
Damon, let me ask you. Yeah.
And that's just how she was. So she would call us periodically. We'd hang out like that. We would never go to any place where she thought Prince might pop up.
Right.
And
Was it?
Her thing was, it was hush hush. You don't talk about this. We don't say nothing. If y'all come to a video, y'all don't say nothing about we hung out. And it was cool. It was cool.
Oh man. Was this in Mounds View, Minnesota?
Yeah,
Okay, because it's still in existence.
yeah,
I'm
it
sitting here
is.
Googling this shit while you're talking about it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Mermaid Entertainment and Event Center. It's a bowling alley now too.
Well, it was a bowling alley back then. It just
Okay.
had a club in that first part of it.
Oh shit.
All right
Well,
You
now.
know,
Jay, we know when we come to Celebration 2025,
We know what it,
Damon, we're gonna go there with you. Okay, we're gonna go. Well, I'm not even joking. We're gonna go to Mounds View, Minnesota. We're gonna hit that
well,
place.
so just so you know, you got to give me a heads up because I'm not in Minnesota. I'm in witness protection. I done told people that. Y'all don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
So, Joe, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, obviously you and I have seen a bunch of shows together. We didn't, I think it's ironic. We didn't see the Love Sexy show together. Kurt and I were at that show in Connecticut and you were
It's
out
funny.
Right. And we were both of us at Madison Square Garden for
hit and
the
run.
tour. And
Right.
we
Before we
didn't know
even
each
knew
other.
each other. Right.
Yeah.
August of 86, right?
Yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about Kat's later work? Like, did you listen to Catwoman and things like that?
Yeah.
I think you and I had
I
conversations about that.
right. I got to ask Damon a quick question. How did Prince make all that music and rehearse and everything, and still be worried about where his people were hanging out and where his girl was?
He kept a tab on everything. Everybody in the place, he knew where they was. Hell, if you go home, if you was a sound person and he needed you, he knew where to catch you.
Wow.
Wow.
You better have your ass at home trying to get some rest because I'm gonna call you in a couple hours.
Uh,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't keep up as much as her solo work because it was, sparingly, but I did hear the tracks that came out or were, not out
yep.
as far as that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if anybody can clear this up about she was dancing Love Sexy, and I heard Kat talk about when she left the fold or was not asked to come back for the next project. How does that go with, being in Prince's employ and he changes direction like that and you're left thinking, oh, what's going on?
I mean, I wasn't on the Love Sexy tour, so I don't really know, everything that they were doing. I know they had a pretty elaborate stage set up.
Mhm.
We did the video for Glam Slam, and we thought we were going on the road with him. And he gave us y'all ready to go on the road? We're like, yeah. He said, psych.
Oh.
So we winded up coming on in like late 89, going into 90.
Mhm.
Damon, can you talk about the fact that you guys were as the Game Boys were asked to rehearse with the Sign of the Times tour and all that stuff? Can you talk a little bit about that precursor, because that's where you probably would have met Kat at that point?
Yeah, so like I said, we have been doing stuff with him off and on.
Yeah.
He'd have us come
Right.
out for parties or do little certain stuff, but we got the call to come out while they were rehearsing for that tour, and we just kind of was just hanging out, and we didn't know what we were going to be doing. He just like, well, I got something in mind for you guys, whatever. And we were just kind of hanging out, doing stuff and watching them rehearse. And I mean, everything was like moving, like he was on the light person, he was on the sound person, he was there, and you just, from watching it, you're going, man, this dude is like everything. He knows what everybody's supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to be doing it, and what have you. And it was just how he was. So we're getting ready to do stuff, and he says, I need you guys to go to wardrobe and get dressed. And we're like, oh, okay. And we had no clue what we were doing. So we go up there and, what did he put us in? Some biker shorts and spandex tops. Yes. Biker shorts and spandex tops. Yes.
Oh,
and that's
Lord.
what we wore in Glam Slam.
Yeah.
It's like body
and
glove,
moving forward,
like body glove
that's just
shit
what it
from
was.
'88. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Wow, body
and
glove,
moving
save
forward,
that.
that's how when we got in the band, we kind of already knew what kind of person he was, as far as the perfectionist of it all and knowing everything. And it's just, you just sit back and wait for your cue, because he's gonna tell you what needs to be done, and and ask you, did y'all work on this? And you better come with, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Because if you
He-
didn't, he'd be sitting there staring at you like, so you didn't go listen to none of that? You know, he expected when he handed you a tape, he expected you to know what's on it, learn it, and come in there and be ready when it was your turn.
It's like he's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in one person.
In one person.
Right.
I used to always call him the chef in the kitchen, and we were just them guys that was prepping his food for him.
Sure.
Exactly.
Kurt,
Tanya, I'm sorry, Kurt.
no, you're fine.
Tanya, what did you think about the dynamic, whether it was on Sign of the Times or Love Sexy?
I loved it. I thought, well, honey, I thought it was hot. As a 16-year-old, oh, now I'm telling my age, but as a 16-year-old, and I was just like, oh, I wanted to be like Kat, because Kat had body, she had the moves, she had the in your face personality. You know, I was not that person. I had body, didn't know it. I had the power, didn't know it. But the moves are not so much. But you know, their dynamic, their chemistry, I don't think how can I say, I can't even compare the chemistry between the two of them like the chemistry he had with Maite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like apples and oranges.
Yep.
Yep.
And he was actually in another space mentally when he was with Maite, as opposed to being, you know, with Kat and with Sheila. So the two of them, I noticed that when they were together during the Sign of the Times, it was more of a raw, primal attraction. Love Sexy, it appeared that the relationship was still there, but it was a lot softer. If that makes any sense. It was a lot easier. You know, it's kind of like when you've been with someone for a long time and now everything is just
easy.
Whereas during the Sign of the Times tour, just the If I Was Your Girlfriend segment, that to me, that was like, whoo.
Yep.
That was hot.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Love Sexy, it was like, oh, you know, we're comfortable with each other. We're good.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big difference for me from what I saw between the two of them. And I think it kind of parlayed into, you know, I wasn't there. I was still a kid, but it parlayed into this thing of respect at the end of the day. It was a respect thing.
Yeah, their chemistry was incredible on them things. Every video I've seen, I just watched something the other day of her and Prince, and they was like, it was this part they were dancing together, and like he walked up to her and she was bumping him, and then she bumped him and he fell down, and and I was like, that was real. That's just how much energy she had, and it made him like, well, dang, you know, because he's a ball of fire.
Yeah.
And for her to be more than him and to get that expression, I like, that was a real expression. That wasn't one of them, you can do it. No, that was like, damn, girl, shit. You know?
And
she
another
favorite,
favorite,
just had that about her.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Damon. Another favorite part of the movie from Sign of the Times was that intro on Hot Thing. That organ, and he's playing, and she's behind the gate. She's at the gate and she's dancing to me. That is some synergy right there.
Shout out to Roy Bennett for the inspiration for Prince's outfit for that, because he came up with the lighting effects for that, and Prince is like, I want an outfit made like that, right?
Yeah.
But thinking about that whole Sign of the Times era, to piggyback on what you just said, Tanya, my first time seeing Kat do her thing was the 1987 MTV Music Awards.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Come on. That's the first time and listen, I love Sign of the Times, the recorded version, but the live version on that particular performance blows it away.
And
with
can
that
I
guitar
tell you
intro?
Times I did Kat's choreography of her standing behind him while he's playing. Man.
And that whole drum thing where they come in like a high school marching band on stage. Come on, man. That shit was just genius.
Everybody, right? With the drums, and then
Just how to introduce the new band that way. That was that was the way of saying, here's my new band without saying it orally.
it's here.
You know?
Right.
Genius.
Joe,
Just genius.
I wanted to ask you because you and I, we went to go see Sheila together, right? Remember our trips to New York and
Sitting,
stuff
sitting
like
like
that.
kindergarten kids on the floor, right?
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Right. It was
They
the
made us.
program,
They made us sit on the floor because we were blocking people's way.
blocking people's view, right?
Ah,
What did you think, Joe, about the dynamic and the chemistry between Sheila and Kat during the Love Sex? Obviously, we saw the Love Sexy tour live, but if you watch like the video from Dortmund, Germany, what are your thoughts?
I'm partial, to be honest. Sign of the Times. If I'm going to compare Sign of the Times and Love Sexy, I'm a Sign of the Times guy right there. I told Matt Fink that I can't wait till the 40th anniversary comes out for that. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just a fantastic show. I mean, when you're seeing it live in person, so much was going on. I think I saw Tanya, the NYC, the NYU forum. And you mentioned the stage where I saw Kat was talking about almost getting her hand cut off.
yes.
Yeah, I never knew about that. That was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great chemistry, great dancers. I'm sure there was a lot of interplay person with Prince and everything off
Yep.
stage, but we didn't know that. But
Right.
Yeah.
Damon
And I
D might
think-
know stuff like that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
does that motivate performers with all that extra stuff going on?
Always, always. I mean, your motivation was that, you had to keep up with his energy. And when he stepped on that stage and them crowd going nuts like that, it's like you had to match his thing. You had to match the energy he's putting out there. So if you didn't, you'd fall off. You wouldn't last long. You wouldn't last long at all. I mean, that was everybody. That's even technicians, anybody working at it. If you wasn't doing your job and you weren't on top of it when it was time for it to happen, you'd be gone. And I've witnessed a few people that were, I remember Roy Bennett. Roy was doing Life for us, and he had another gig that came up, and they sent somebody else. Prince was like, "Who is this?" He's like, "I need Roy." Well, Roy got nothing. Call him. He did not. He like let dude go, and they're like, "Well, who's gonna run the lights?" He said, "I'll do it if I have to." I was like, "Oh, this dude, man!" So you had to match his energy. So when it came to the choreography, he gave us free realm to put together what we need to put together on the thing. But he paid attention to everything that we were doing. So when it came time for us to show him certain things, it almost was like he, out of the corner of his eye, he was watching what we were doing while he was, in that kitchen with the rest of the band. And we'd be like, when did he have time to practice that? Like, you've been watching us all this time, but it's just how he was, you know what I mean? So he picked up stuff pretty easy. And most of the stuff we did, he liked the fact that we acted out the words. Some of the choreography we did was more or less mimicking the words. And I think that's what he dug about us. So,
Damon, did you see?
And the fact that we were like big pillars.
Right. So he can lean on you, literally.
Yeah. Hello.
Did you see Kat interacting and collaborating with Prince on the choreography? Was he, getting ideas from her, things like that?
I think he let her have free realm of what she was doing with the choreography, because a lot of the stuff that they were doing was stuff that Kat presented. He was pretty good at letting her have her way with doing things. Like when Jerome and them were there, Kat was collaborating with Jerome, with moves that Wally and Brooks were doing with him. And Kat was working with Prince with what they were doing. So, I mean, I just think that you credit him for letting you have some kind of say-so in what's going to happen in the choreography. And him being the perfectionist he was to pick it up. He'd pick it up easily.
Wow, yeah.
that alpha female energy was particularly appealing to him.
Yeah,
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
I
that's,
mean, like I said, Kat had a strong personality, and
hey,
her presence was like in your face.
man.
Definitely not a wallflower, right?
Oh no, by no
By
means
those,
a wallflower.
yeah.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Did anybody know about that project Diamonds that they were working with Jill and the Mary Jane
I
girls a
did.
couple? Oh,
I knew
okay.
about it.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I knew about it. I wish it would have come to fruition because I think that would have been a wonderful um another side, another level, a layer, I should say, to his story. Because again, everyone has their own story about him. They've all lived different parts of his life, and they all have. I've been saying this a lot lately. Everyone has their own truth
Mm,
to what happened when they were there with him. So I think it would have been a really good. I think it would have been a really good show
mm.
had it, things come to pass.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
And
unfortunate.
kind of talking about, the reason why we're here and Kat's untimely passing. Kurt and I were actually recording on Tuesday night, and we were guests on another podcast. And,
Mhm.
we had
Yeah.
finished recording, and, we were chopping it up, off camera afterwards.
Yeah.
And we said our goodbyes and said our good nights. And, I'm just unwinding, and I happened to pick up my phone,
Yeah.
and I saw a post from Ricky Freeze Smith, about
Yeah.
Kat passing. And he
Yeah.
had made reference to the fact that they were both in the Jermaine Stewart video for "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off," which I didn't know.
I didn't know either.
I have since watched it, and you can see Freeze and you can see Kat. It says, "Oh my goodness," But it
Yeah.
was, it was such a surprise, though, to hear about her passing. And I think
Mhm.
it makes it more poignant, like for Kurt and I, because we were in, like we talked about at the top of the conversation, about we were in, talking to Haley Drink all about having Kat come on. But I'm encouraged and humbled by the amount of the outpouring of love and respect that the community has shown her. And Kurt, maybe you can talk about that a little bit, because even from lay people like us who weren't in the fold like Damon was, or didn't meet her like Tanya did, but just the people in the community.
Well, I will tell you, two people that really wanted to come on tonight but had other obligations, Steve Parke
Mhm.
and Dwayne Tudall. And Dwayne sends his best to each and every one of you that's on here. He knows the value that you have in the whole universe. Um, but Steve, you know, had a very, if you've not seen his Facebook post about his memories of working with Kat, she basically, shepherded him through that whole time. He came on to work for, designing the Love Sexy tour stage, floor, and the designs and the sets and what have you, and designed his logo. And I want to give credit to the photo that I have as my backdrop behind me. That's a photo he took in her hotel room on the Love Sexy tour. So I asked him if I could have permission to use that because he's very adamant. As long as you ask permission for the original artists that give their art, it's a mutual respect thing. You have to give that. But he wanted to send his best to each and every one of you here. Um, that it didn't matter what era of Prince's career you worked in. She was a beacon. She was a bright light, and they all and anybody that all the outpouring that I've seen, the posts that I've seen about her. I wish we could have actually talked. I mean, she and I have had chatted on Facebook quite a bit, not about Prince, but about her love of other music.
Mhm.
She found out that I was involved in a Led Zeppelin covers band. I sing and play harmonica in a Led Zeppelin covers band, and she went on about all her favorite Led Zeppelin songs, her cut albums. I mean, she knew her shit musically. I mean, she's a music head.
Mhm.
She's a music geek. She was a music geek. She knew a lot. I'm like, girl, we need to forget talking about Prince. If you want to come on our podcast, let's talk about that. You know,
Yeah.
she could go off about her favorite artist like nobody's business. And you know, I was quite taken aback by her, you know, she referenced deep cuts. I'm like, oh wow, okay. You know, you're not dealing with somebody, you know, you all who work for Prince, you were professionals. You know, Damon, you knew your craft, and you had this background that knew, you know, that's my main takeaway is how much she absorbed and how much knowledge she had, not just around Prince's universe, but the whole music scene itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's
You
what I
know?
said. He watched everybody. He knew what everybody was supposed to be doing when they did it. I can tell you, there was a time I was dancing behind him by myself one night. Kirk went on and played on the percussion, and Tonya went and picked up the rhythm guitar and was just kind of playing some stuff. And I was doing this solo stuff behind him. And so, you know, one night, Damon was just going to get creative and do something different. And so while he opened the song, I decided, I was like, man, I'm tired of doing that move, so I'm going to throw something else in here. And I did a little Fred Astaire thing and turned some stuff. And he sung this line twice. And I stopped, and it kind of confused me because I was like, wait a minute, that's not what's supposed to go here now. You know, thinking to myself, did I miss something? So we finish up the song. He called me to his room. And he goes, so what did you do right here? And I was like, what are you talking about? So he plays the tape back. And I'm going, I was like, oh, I said, well, you know, I did that for like 3 or 4 nights in a row. I figured I'd change the move. He said, did you hear me change the voice, sing that twice? I was like, you sung that twice? Yeah, I know I saw it. He said, oh, why do you think I did that? I was like, I don't know, you missed the lyric? He says, no, I turned around at a certain time and I looked at you to do that one move and it wasn't there. So I thought I missed something. So I sung it again. And then he turned around and he looked over at Gilbert and said, stop paying $50 for that. I was like, wait, what?
Ooh.
He said, don't change anything in the middle of the show.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, I said, you change songs all the time in the night, but okay, never mind.
It's his ship.
Yep.
It's his ship.
Yep.
And that's just how he was. He watched everything.
Wow.
And he paid attention to everybody, the tech guys, what he's supposed to be doing at his time, what the light guy's doing, the sound guy. If he didn't have certain things he watched everything, everybody.
Wowza.
Joe, what did you think, obviously, when you heard about Kat's passing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
And I think I saw Freeze that thing about being in the video, Jermaine Stewart and everything like that. And it just, you know, it's amazing that the love and, you know, people bringing up their memories like that. You know, as far as I wanted to quickly ask Damon a question about the rigors of being a dancer. I know Kirk had a knee replacement and stuff like that. How about yourself? You know, and Kat dancing all that many years. I know my wife used to ballroom dance. She's got some really bad back problems. How about yourself?
Man, I had a meniscus tear. So so I had this back when I was in high school, when I was playing ball. I was a really good ball player. If that career would have happened, I probably would have never got to the Prince thing. But since that didn't happen, while we were doing a show in New York, Radio City Music Hall.
Oh,
I tried to step around
that show. Yep.
I tried to step around a bodyguard. Me and Kirk had walked up there's a ledge on Radio City Music Hall. If you've been there, if you look up inside the wall, there's this little ledge that goes up. So we decided to, you know, one of them nights, Prince was like, let's go all out. Everybody get funky. So me and Kirk took off walking on this ledge and come back, and the bodyguard was standing against the wall. And, you know, I was like, and Kirk got past him, but then he leaned back and I'm going, well, damn, I got to get back over the stage because if I don't, I'm going to get docked. So I tried to step around him and my leg was, you know, in one down here. So I got up and I was like, ooh. So I'm on stage finish the show. We go up to Canada, and the guy goes, "You tore your meniscus again."
Shit.
And I'm like, ah.
Mm.
So, I've had some knee stuff, but, I was fortunate that I'm not like Kirk had a replacement and stuff. I was fortunate that I just had the surgery and I rehabilitated myself, and I've been fine. I mean, I don't have no problems with my legs. I'm still dancing around here at 64 or be 64.
You're lucky. Now, was that medial meniscus?
Huh?
Was that the inside meniscus that you had to?
Yeah, the little cushion you have in twice that keeps the knee from doing that.
Yeah.
I only got a little piece.
Oh man.
About it's less than a quarter.
Wow. You're lucky. That's luck, man. That's total
and
luck.
I'm still doing my little TikToks here and there, and whatever little dance I do when ain't nobody watching.
Oh, we watching.
We seen you do it with Kirk too. We seen you do it with Kirk too.
Yeah.
We know.
So, it takes a toll on your body. I mean, we dance. When we rehearse, we would get the tape because we would get tired of sitting there listening to them go over and over the song. So we told Prince one time, we was like, "Hey man, so if you can you put all the songs on a tape and we'll go to another room and practice?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, well, okay, whatever." We get a tape and we go to another room and piece all the dance stuff together. And then when we come back, they'd still be going through whatever. And he's like, "You guys done already?" We're like, "Yeah." And he played a song to see if we were actually done, if we really did anything. And he'd just sit there and look at us and go, "Okay." We would go work it out and then come back to the rehearsal and be ready to throw down. So 8 to 10 hours a day. Some days when we had the videos, it would be longer. You come to rehearsal, get time to go get something to eat, come back, be ready to go for the videos, and it kind of rolled into the night. So,
of the videos that you did, those maxi singles that we think of back in the day, right? The video, okay, Get Off,
Gangster Glam,
Gangster Glam.
All of that was done in one stint.
Yeah.
That was like an all day on to the next morning thing.
Shit, my knees hurt just thinking about it.
We didn't stop. We did Get Off, and then he said, "Oh, we're gonna do the house version, and we're gonna do the club version. We're gonna do this." We're like, "Damn, we ain't going home." I'm kind of sleepy.
Shit, Steve Silk Hurley and all those
all night.
Wow, that's Steve Silk Hurley. You really going there?
I was going to say, man. Steve Silk, those guys had the easy job. They just remixed the shit. They didn't have to dance it.
Yeah, look. So we were like, and the band would be like, "Man, we tired." It's like, "Y'all tired?" You know what I mean? We had to do that over and over and over just for the different angles for the camera. Like, man, listen, over and over and over. Like, I'm not trying to say the band didn't put work in, but you tried dancing all that time.
Yeah.
And keep that energy. That same energy that he expected you to see.
Yeah.
Man. Your body take a time. You go home and you have to wake up in 2 hours and get back out there.
Ain't enough icy hot in the world.
Icy hot. We didn't have icy hot back then.
Y'all had been gay.
Been gay.
When you met Kat, and you kind of talked about her energy.
Yeah.
Was it like you had known her your whole life? Was it that comfortable?
It was. It really was. I posted a picture of us, and she just was so open and wanting to embrace you and bring you in. That didn't mean that you could play. She was not playing with you, but she was always open to being surrounded by the love. That's really what it was. And I watched her because I generally watch from the outside and watch how people interact with celebrities, if you will. And she treated everybody the same. She treated everyone the same. Ingrid Chavez was there as well. And she, it was like there were two good Judys. just catching up on everything. Because Ingrid was the rain is wet, sugar is
Sugar is
sweet,
sweet.
Right.
clap your hands, stomp your feet.
Yep.
And she, I really like to see that interaction with them. And when she came out on stage, when D'Angela introduced her, it was different. Matt Fink came out. Everybody was like, hey, Matt, yeah. And Ingrid is Miss, oh, the flowers and the trees are blooming and the fresh morning dew is here. Very zen, very
Yeah.
zen.
Mm.
But when Kat came out, I mean, everybody just rose up. And she came out, and as soon as she came out, there she hitting that cat scat. She was hitting it. And the crowd just went wild. And she just always had that same energy. I did never saw her talk to anyone out of sorts.
Mm.
On the times that we connected. She was just never that type of person.
She justified her love. Ooh, I went there. I went.
Oh dear.
Yes,
Red shot.
I couldn't help it.
Right. That's some great stuff. Well, I think that I speak for both Kurt and I when I say, thank you all very much, for joining us tonight. I think it was very fitting. We got a great panel here to talk about Kat, to kind of, respect the legacy and what she's meant to the purple community and beyond.
Right.
And, in her untimely passing, at least with the stories that we shared, Kurt and I had said something where, we didn't want this to be a downer. We wanted it to be more telling stories, talking feelings, and almost make it like a celebration, Kurt.
Celebration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we appreciate you all coming on, sharing a little bit, of your thoughts. It was our absolute pleasure to have each of you here tonight.
Well, thank you. I'm really flattered that you thought of me enough to bring me on. I feel like I've said this in behind closed doors to you, Brother Silva, and Kurt, and Damon knows how I feel, that a lot of the stories, I mean, Prince Rogers Nelson is an entity within himself. We all know that. But I also like to see the for lack of a better word, sidemen get their shine as well. And like Damon and Jerome and Wally and Kat, and even Rosie Gaines and that all the entire spectrum. I like to see when people give them their props. So yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys always, reaching out to talk to me. Always, and I know I'm gonna hear it because I always hear it every time I say it. I was like, I'm not like everybody else. I don't come off. I don't want to feel like I'm some big celebrity and all the other stuff. I know what I did with him, but I don't see I'm just Damon. If you ever know me, you know that I respect everybody, and I'm just Damon. I'm not politically correct sometimes. Sometimes I'm a little bit Damien. And then there's times you got Damon, the laughing, goofy. I'm a goofy person, having fun type guy, So I just appreciate people wanting to talk to me every now and then. It's like, because I don't take for granted what opportunity I had with him, and I will always respect what he did for me and what he did for everybody else, and for all the people that have been involved in some of this stuff, I hear people say, well, man, he was my brother, we respect, blah, blah, blah. But then on the other side, I'm visually seeing and listening. And I go, sometimes y'all don't, people tend to take that family thing too far and they don't know what that means. And he was, for me, we had conversations outside of music. When you get that phone call and you're like, so what's going on with you? And want you to come sit down and you're talking about your everyday life. How's your kid? How are you? What you up to? Where you living at? Everything all right? That's not just somebody that just hired you to be a part of his band. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't take that for granted what he brought to the table when we had conversation. And, you know, whether any of the other guys in the band, what they did with him when they had the conversation, I know I have receipts and people that can tell you when I was around him, when I was there, when nobody else was there.
Yep.
You know, just having conversation, hey man, come on out, I need to talk to you, whatever. I won't even get into talking about the half of the Bible that we argued about, the Jehovah Witness stuff, and how he said y'all reading the wrong Bible, and I was like, wait a minute, you telling me my mama was alive? I can tell your mama was alive.
No. That'll be another
Don't
episode.
try to tell me about
Yes.
my
We'll have you on a whole other
So
episode.
it was just more personal, you know, for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I'll never, you know, forget things that I had shared with him and how we dealt with each other. I was that one person that would say certain shit. So, you know, and if you've seen anything, that video of me coming out with a wig and skirt, I'm the only person that ever pulled that off on his stage.
Yep, that's Damon.
Yes.
And of course, you know, Joe, you know, we appreciate you coming on and for what you've been in the community, you know, all these years, you know, back from even when you and I did a couple of interviews back in 2002, 2003, you know, and I know you've always respected the associated artists that worked with Prince as well. And, you know, we're glad that you were able to join us tonight.
To have me
Joe,
on.
we're humbled.
You know,
Yes.
it's special because the five of us share the same passion. You know, Prince is gone, but there's so much Minneapolis history and everything, whether
Absolutely.
you're in the band playing music or a fan or
Yep.
in media and stuff like that. You know, we do things just to support Minneapolis music. And unfortunately, we're here on a sad, but you guys are talking about celebratory, and I think we definitely have to do that.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. And that is well said.
And, you know, inevitably, when I show the Sign of the Times movie to people who aren't Minneapolis fans or super fans, it goes on to a scene where Cat's in it, Housequake, Hot Thing, and you mentioned if I was your girlfriend, she was perfect for that.
Yep.
Just great.
I think that Cat was the flip side of his coin during this time.
Right.
Sure.
She was definitely the flip side.
Yep.
And if you don't mind me saying, let's not forget her children.
Yes.
Let's
No.
not forget her children.
Right, family. Yep.
I did reach out to her
out in
Facebook
Chicago?
account.
Mhm.
Out in Chicago the last few years?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I reached out to her Facebook account, and her daughter, I don't remember which one. I think it was Angel.
Angel.
That's
Yeah.
the Angel's in charge of the her Facebook account, and I reached out to her and said, hey, if there's anybody in the immediate family that's reading this, you know, all our hearts are out and sympathies towards you. And she said, this is her daughter, and we appreciate that. So they are aware. I know a statement is further coming about, you know, everything, but you know, they're very grateful that everybody's out there with the love and support. So, you know, we're thinking of them because, you know,
There are. Yep.
yeah.
So before we close, Kurt, I'm going to defer to you.
Yes, sir. So if you I don't want to say if you like what you heard. Well, no, if you like what you heard, because this is a celebration, but if you appreciated what you heard and saw today, please hit the like and subscribe button below so we can have more wonderful guests like we have today on our panel. And like I always say, Jay, before we close, a rising tide lifts all boats. And Jay?
And I'm going to take this opportunity to thank Damon Dixon, Tanya Giddens, and Joe Kelly for joining us.
Yes.
You know, love, peace, and prayers to Cat Glover, her family, her manager, Haley Drinkall. We are thinking of you. We appreciate everything that you did for the community. You will not be forgotten. And please remember, y'all, when the universe comes knocking, you have to answer that door. Good night. Peace.
Good night. Peace.